Just want to welcome everyone who's going to tune in later and listen to this. Thank you for joining us. And today I have with me Jason. Well, I don't want to put your full name out there, but
That's all good. Do what you want.
he's got Jason. Can they get your Instagram handle or no?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Go for it. You want me to say it, or you can say it?
Oh, can you say it? I don't want to mess it up. Yeah.
No, I'll say. I got two of them. I have a photography based one. It's just my last name at Baruki, Boruckii, and then I run a food blog called at Jason Eats NYC.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, everyone, if you wanna get in touch, just hit him up on Instagram on there. All right, so yeah, so let's just kind of dive into this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the topic. I'm doing a series, which is like, well, basically, let me just kind of introduce again my platform. I introduced it on the first episode, but this is just my second one, so I'll explain it again for everyone. So basically, I'm creating a platform for basically for all young working like professional people. So I'm doing all these interviews, so like the listeners, the viewers, like they can learn from these interviews and just kind of, I guess, be inspired or motivated and just get like tips and advice on just kind of navigating, like life after college, like in their 20s, or even if you didn't go to college, like life after high school. So, just that's what I'm building up right now. And, I plan on doing that with just interviewing like real life people, not just like things you see on blogs or websites or LinkedIn or whatever. I mean, not trying to like bash that, but I think this is a different,
Right.
like this is a different element. Like this is just like real conversation. There's no, like, there's no agenda or this isn't part of a company or whatever. It's just like real talk from real people. So this first installment of videos I'm doing is called Relocation. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. Basically, I'm going to be speaking with different people that basically they relocated from their hometown, you know, starting in their adult years. So probably give or take, like you lived in a certain city until like age 18, 20, whatever. And then for whatever reason, you moved to like a different state or even different country to, start a new life. So anyways, that being said, we got Jason with us, and he's, currently in New York City. So, can you take us back to where you were born and raised originally?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born in Japan, a city called Yokosuka. It's like an hour south of Tokyo. My dad was in the naval, or the Navy, and there's a naval base located there, and just kind of born there. And then I moved to California, like around the Bay Area, San Francisco. Concord was the actual city, and then I ended up living my first 25 years after that in Charlotte, and that's where I was raised, start to, kindergarten through 12, high school, all that.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Uh, like, I mean, I know you moved to Charlotte at a young age, but like, do you have any like vivid memories of like Concord, California?
uh, Honestly, not so much. I mean, maybe like it's kind of weird. Like all of them kind of revolve around like bowling. There would just be like this one bowling alley that me and my parents would take me to when I was like 2, 3 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like a huge. I'm Filipino,
Mm-hmm.
huge Filipino kind of group that was located over there.
Mm-hmm.
So it would just be like me and then like all the other Filipinos in that area, and basically once a weekend. Just kind of go
Okay.
there. Other
Mm-hmm.
than that, not so much. It was just like a lot of video games inside of the apartment. It was like around the time like Sega Genesis came out, so I was playing like
Okay.
Sonic the Hedgehog, all that.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
All
what
right.
I remember.
Okay, that's cool. So, So yeah, like you said, you moved to Charlotte and you spent the majority of like your childhood and even early adulthood days.
Yeah.
So I mean, you don't have to give us like a whole novel about it, but like,
All right.
but I mean, it's a long time. But so I mean, like growing up in Charlotte, like how was that experience for you? Like, did you enjoy it? Not enjoy it? Like, can you kind of just give us like a summary?
Right. Like so. I mean, when I went through school, it was kind of through the Catholic schooling system,
Mm-hmm.
and I think from the outside looking in, I mean, it looks like I had a pretty good childhood, very like low stress, all my
Mm-hmm.
needs were met, all that. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, kind of like being born in Japan, my mom's side of the family is all in the Philippines,
Mm-hmm.
and when you're growing up and you only meet your dad's side of the family the whole time, it kind of like makes you want to kind of like venture out, which is, I mean, I guess part of the reason why I'm here in New York City in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, from a kid growing up standpoint, yeah, it was great. Had my friends there. School was good. It was a great school. Yeah, it's a good foundation.
Oh, awesome, cool. So like in Charlotte, I mean, you're Filipino, like I'm Filipino too. So
Yeah,
I mean, I've never been to like North Carolina. I mean, I was at the airport once, but that doesn't really count. But
right.
so like, what is like, is there like a Filipino community at all in the Charlotte area? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. Like I didn't really know them all too well. There's like one or two friends that I have from that group, but my mom knew basically everybody who was Filipino in that city. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I've lived in Vegas. I lived in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
They all have their groups. I don't know. Filipinos kind of get around the country
Yeah,
or
yeah,
everywhere.
definitely.
I
Yeah,
feel like.
yeah, for sure. So like growing up there, how's the diversity overall? Like, was it pretty diverse or like not so much?
I mean, yes, the diversity is there. Yeah, it's definitely there. But I was being raised in like a Catholic school system, so it kind of just like cuts off the diversity in a way.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So yes and no. I can't really get I can't really explain that too in depth just because I wasn't really paying attention to it at the time.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I went to Catholic school too, so I mean, I can relate to what you're saying. Uh,
Right.
so like, so I'll try and explain it to like the audience the best way I can. I mean, it really, I mean, not all Catholic schools are the same either, but I know like I went to Catholic school from in like grade school to like eighth grade and then high school. I mean, I mean, my high school was more diverse than my grade school, but
Mm-hmm.
um, it's weird. Like it's hard to explain to people. I mean,
It's really hard to explain. You're not really paying attention to it when it's happening.
yeah, I mean, well, I know at least
Where I was.
the schools I went to, basically Catholic school. People didn't send their kids there necessarily for like the religious experience. They just sent them there because it was better than what the public schools offered.
Exactly.
So that's essentially that's the best way I can explain it.
It's kind of what happened to me. I feel like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah. So anyways, yeah. I mean, you spent a lot of your early years in Charlotte. So after that, you went to Vegas. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
cool. So like, if you don't mind sharing, so like what factors like made you consider like, oh, I want to get out of Charlotte and I want to move to
Right.
Vegas and see what's out there.
Yeah. So I guess I moved to Vegas when I was 25. Yeah, that sounds right. 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I had been in the restaurant industry my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
just kind of doing that. And like the previous 2 years before I moved, I had gotten really into poker, super into it. So I just kind of, I was waiting for like a big move in my life, and I just felt like this was the time to do it. Kind of took all the money that I saved and just drove. It was like 2,500 miles to Las Vegas.
Wow.
Kind of just made a trip out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I guess the whole basis was knowing that restaurant opportunities were a lot bigger there. Like the whole Las Vegas Strip, all the casinos, celebrity chefs are located up and down that city.
Mm-hmm.
And just the opportunity of being able to work with one of those was a good idea for me. The cost of living is a fraction of what it is in Charlotte as well.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and then just the fact that I felt like I could also make a decent living playing poker as well. Just like all of those factors combined.
Oh, awesome. Cool. So, like, I mean, I don't want to pry too deep, but what kind of jobs were you doing in restaurants?
Oh, just waiting tables, nothing pretty. I started off, I think like my first restaurant job in Charlotte was at this steakhouse called Mickey and Mooch, and
Mm-hmm.
I just got like a dishwashing position there.
Mm-hmm.
But 1-2 months in, I just started like to completely learn the menu. I knew it by heart after 3 months, and they kind of just put me in as a server, and then it just kind of went from there.
Oh, awesome. Cool. Awesome. So, like when you, I mean, kind of explain the transition to Vegas. So, like when
Mhm.
you got to Vegas, was it everything you imagined, or like was it different when you actually got there?
Right. I didn't know what to expect when I went there, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there once for Halloween, and I mean, when you're not living on the Las Vegas Strip, like no one knows like what Las Vegas is outside of the Strip. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
um, it's just a completely different city, and I think it's kind of a reason why I stayed there for a couple of years instead of like trying to figure out a different plan because I don't know. I think there are bits and pieces of outside Las Vegas that kind of reminded me of Charlotte, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Like outside of the
Yeah.
Las Vegas Strip,
Yeah. I
that
got
reminds me of
you.
Charlotte, like it's like a big, like tight knit community. Everybody knows each other. The
Mm-hmm.
population of Vegas is really only, I think, like around. I could just be lying here, but maybe like 500,000-600,000 people. But they get like a lot of tourists and everything that kind of
Mm-hmm.
give it that name.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, I think I'm kind of just rambling on right now. But
No, you're good. Yes, you're good. So, like when you started working in Vegas, so you worked like on the actual strip.
um, my first priority was to just get a job in general when I got there, just to
Okay.
kind of get the money flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, got a job that was outside of the strip, but it was at a really good Japanese restaurant. I love that place. It's called Yanaka.
Mm-hmm.
But I would always obviously be sending out resumes to everywhere that was hiring.
Mm-hmm.
A few months after, I got hired at Wolfgang Puck at the MGM Grand,
Oh,
um,
cool.
which was a huge opportunity for me. I feel like very strict work environment, but if you do a year or two there, you can basically work anywhere you'd like to in the
Mm-hmm.
country. I feel like, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just a couple months at the first place, but you had to have your sights set on the second place as well, and just knowing where you wanted to get.
Oh, awesome. So when you got the job at MGM Grand, like, I mean, I'm not too familiar with Vegas, but MGM
Right.
Grand, that's like a really like prestigious
It's
place.
a good one.
Yeah.
If you know, like Pacquiao and Mayweather, that fight
Uh-huh. Yeah, for
that,
sure.
that that happened at the MGM Grand. A lot of the big fights do happen there as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like the big names on the Las Vegas Strip, it's not at the top, but it sits in the mix.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. So like your time at MGM Grand, like Was that like a was that one of the best jobs like you've ever had, like working at MGM Grand?
Um, at the time, financially, definitely, but it also kind of just taught you a lot about like discipline. I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you don't show up late. You don't like all these things that you needed to do as a server, like menu knowledge, step to service, all of that. They looked at you extremely carefully.
Mm-hmm.
So you're, I mean, you don't have to be perfect, but you have to show up to work. You have to be present and doing your job 100% of the time. And I think it just taught me a lot of things, yeah, in regard to discipline and just people skills and knowing what the professional world wants out of you.
Oh wow, cool. So like, was it that job was kind of like it kind of like made you step up to like another level? Would you say?
Oh, definitely, because I think about like where I work now, and the expectations are a little lower.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, when expectations are lower, you kind of like slack off,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you're more prone to slacking off. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Whether at that place, you kind of just had to
Mm-hmm.
cross your T's, dot your I's, all that stuff.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So I mean, yeah, you're working at MGM Grand, and then you said, did you also like get involved in the poker scene as well?
Oh yeah, that was my. I mean, not to say like all of my money was going into that, but it was, I knew that I was making way more than my bills were.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like trying to find a way to, I guess increase the amount of money I had. I've been playing this game for so long. I study it so much, and yeah, I played, sometimes like 20, 30 hours a week, sometimes like 5 to 6 hours a week. It varied
Oh.
depending on like how I was feeling, but yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
played a lot.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So it's like you kind of had, I mean, obviously you had the MGM Grand job. So like poker was kind of like a second job for you.
Yes, yes, but I didn't want to look at it that way. But
Mm-hmm.
it was, I guess. I just like to, I just enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm.
I just like the competitive side of me. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was a second job.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So man, man, I've been following you on Instagram for a while now. Man,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anyone that follows you notices, you're like, I guess what they would call a foodie or like a food lover. So,
Yeah.
so like, how was like the culinary scene like as not as like a employee, but like just going around eating at different places? Like, how was the food scene in Vegas?
In Vegas, it's pretty cool. I think what people see outside of, or not outside of, but like through like media sources and all that is stuff that you see like on the Las Vegas Strip because that's the most well-known area of Las Vegas. But
Mm-hmm.
outside of Vegas is probably some of the best food I've ever had. There's like a Chinatown is located maybe like a half-mile drive outside of the Strip, and
Mm-hmm.
some of the best like Vietnamese food I think I've ever had there. And then there's like little towns like 30 miles northwest, 30 miles southeast called Henderson and Summerlin.
Mm-hmm.
Those places are like really up and coming, really big culinary scenes. A lot of chefs who work directly under these like these celebrity chefs make their
Mm-hmm.
name on the Strip, and they kind of just relocate out to these outer cities and
Mm-hmm.
try to make a name for themselves, the locals.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's pretty cool out there. I
Oh,
love it way more than the Strip.
oh, okay. That's cool. So, I mean, speaking outside of the strip, like, so I mean, you said outside the strip is kind of like more of like a small knit community. So, like what
Yeah,
else is there to do in Vegas for like people that don't know? Like me, for
right.
example, like besides like gambling and like
Yeah.
circus or whatever, or like strip clubs, like what
Hmm.
else is like what does Vegas offer, or even the Vegas suburbs offer, like people and like families that are not necessarily, trying to get into, all the vices over there.
No, no, I hear you. I think one of the things that everyone needs to know about Vegas is the proximity to, well, I'm a big like nature guy. I just like just being outside and all that. There's like about 6 national parks that are within like a 3-hour drive of Las Vegas.
Oh wow.
It is a huge like outdoorsy city. It's always warm, like always. Wintertime, summertime, obviously, but you know, you can spend all your time outside. Like these little towns, like Summerlin, Henderson. There are all of these families that have done well for themselves by working on the strip, but they've made their own communities within that area, and you know, they have really good upbringings, children there. A lot of good schools in those areas, but I think the one thing that really surprised me over anything about Vegas was you like work on the strip. Outside of it, there's just if you like nature, if you like eating, all that stuff, you can just stay where you live and have all of that without even needing to be close to the strip.
Oh, okay. That's cool. That's cool for people. Me, I didn't even really know that, but
Right.
that's good to know. Cool. So, like, in Vegas, I mean, I'm sure most people know, like, for like job wise, you know, there's, of course, restaurants, casinos,
Yeah.
hotels, and stuff like that. What other industries outside of, like, I guess, tourism are
Yeah.
prominent in the Vegas area?
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you. That's all you see there. Casinos. I know Zappos has their headquarters there. But and they own a lot of downtown Las Vegas, I believe. But that's it. I really don't know many other industries. Like obviously the tourism, hospitality, casinos, hotels, all that. That's going to be your number one. And I think you know your finance related jobs, like I don't know, software, computer programming, those kind of places. They're like a lot less of a percentage of the job market here.
Oh, yes, I feel you. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. Yeah.
Okay, that's all good. So, like, I know, I mean, they don't have any pro sports there, but, like, if you're, like, a sports fan, like, who do people follow? Do they just follow UNLV? Like, who do they go for in Vegas?
Honestly, a lot of my friends are like huge UNLV fans. I mean, probably because they graduated there as well. But they got a hockey team, which is actually the last team I figured they would get, being in the desert.
Yeah.
But I mean, they went to the Stanley Cup last year, so
Oh, really?
you know. Oh, and the thing is, all my friends who lived in Vegas, I mean, the city embraced that. I mean, obviously a city's gonna love you if you're winning, but
Yeah.
for that to happen in its first year, I don't know, they've just got like a massive following. All their games are sold out this year. It's kind of incredible to watch. But as far as like football goes, I think a lot of them are going to be Raiders fans because I think everyone thinks that the Raiders are going to be coming to Vegas. So either like the Raiders, 49ers, a lot of California teams, you know, the Chargers. A lot of these people also do come from the West Coast. And then basketball, I would say a lot of Lakers fans. A lot of Lakers, a lot of Warriors. But I've never met a Clippers fan, man. Yeah. I think it's just, yeah.
Yeah, I never met. Yeah, no one outside of LA probably likes the Clippers. I've never met a Clippers fan, not from California.
I know.
But that's cool. So, about how long were you in Vegas for in total?
2 years.
2 years. Oh, okay, cool. So I mean, now you're in NYC. So, can you kind of talk about what made you want to transition from Vegas to New York?
Yeah. Got like really into photography. Kind of like 3/4 through my stay in Vegas, and I just knew that the market for photographers just wasn't there, or it was, but it was just like a lot, I would say, easier to get jobs in like your big name cities like LA, New York City, San Francisco, areas like that. Plus, I also kind of knew that I was like I've always been in love with New York City, like since I went there for the first time like 10 years ago. Just incredible city. I felt like it was just kind of like a matter of time before I ended up living there. But once all that stuff happened, I knew I could, make the same amount of money or more money just waiting tables in New York City. And I could focus all the rest of my time on trying to pursue photography related positions.
Okay, so like has photography has that always been like a passion for you like your whole life, or did you start it later in life?
I mean, I've always been interested in it. I think in Vegas, I just decided to, because cameras aren't cheap, so I just decided shovel a bit of money into my first camera. And, from that point on, I kind of just realized that was one of the best decisions I feel like I've ever made. So, again, there wasn't really a day I went without taking photos from that point that I got my first camera. So, I mean, yes, it is something I got into relatively recently, maybe like a couple years ago, but it's something I've always been interested in my whole life.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So like basically like you have you kind of have aspirations to like become like a full-time photographer.
Honestly, I kind of don't really want to be full-time anything, I think. I kind of just want like different areas where I can just freelance. I think that's my ultimate goal is just to become like a full-time freelancer. Photography being one of those things that can definitely do that for me. But I mean, I think the market's out there for it in New York City. I feel like there's a lot of places that are looking for them, especially like in food-related, like restaurants, little diners, places like that. I think they'll be more prone to having me work for them just because I have the experience in the food industry.
Yeah, for sure.
So they can see like I don't know, like I have a restaurant mindset when it comes to yeah.
That's cool. So I mean, you said earlier you drive from North Carolina to Vegas. So did you drive from Vegas to NYC?
No, I sold my car.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Sold my car and then just one-way flight.
Oh yeah, because NYC has all the trains and buses and stuff. So
oh yeah, it's people complain about everything. Like it does have its problems, but like it's a very, very good subway system. You don't need a car here at all.
Oh, cool.
It's kind of nice, but I miss driving.
Yeah. So let's like get more into NYC. So when you finally got to New York, like was it so what was like your initial reaction? Was it like, oh, this is exactly how I pictured it, or was it different from your expectations?
Right. I honestly couldn't tell you. So I ended up having, like, before I moved to New York City, I called one of my old managers. She just made the move, and she wanted me to come work for her. And first day I landed, I went to her restaurant, interviewed with her. I had a job, and so I spent like one day hanging around New York City, and then the next like 15 out of my next 17 days, I was just working. So it was like nothing really changed. I was just working in a restaurant every single day. The only thing that changed was the city that I was in.
Yeah,
but, yeah, it's just kind of like the same routine, except just in a different place. But, once I kind of got some time off, it ended up being the move that I thought it would be. Obviously, it's different when you live somewhere than when you vacation somewhere. But, yeah, everyone makes a very similar move to me. Like, everyone's like coming from outside, going into New York City, and I don't know. This place will always be involved in my life, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I live here forever or not,
Yeah.
I will always be spending some time here for as long as I live. I feel like.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So, now you've been in NYC for about what, a year now or something?
Yeah, a little over a year.
All right, cool. Yes, I do. I do keep up Instagram. I do. I don't want to sound like a stalker, but
No,
I do kind of have a timeline. but
it's not. It's not.
so being in NYC, so like what would you say about living in NYC? Like what would you tell like people like me that are like outsiders that really don't know much about NYC besides media? It's like what do people really need to know about what goes on in New York?
I think you have to be prepared for the hardest thing to do in New York City is to get an apartment.
Okay.
By far, um, be prepared to pay New York City prices for that's really it. That's the only real I guess roadblock that's ever happened to me here
Mhm.
was my living situation.
Mhm.
But other than that, I mean, just come in, knowing having a plan. You'll
Mhm.
get a job easier than you ever imagined. But
Mhm.
when you're getting an apartment, you got to have that first month, that last month security deposit all lined up.
Mhm.
Or you can do what I did and just get an Airbnb for like a few months at a time. But
Okay.
outside of that, train routes, nothing really outside of that I feel like was too um, surprising to me, I guess.
Mhm. Okay. So and when you're in New York, that's probably the coldest place you've lived because you lived in
Oh yeah,
Carolina and Vegas. So how was that transition like, just weather-wise?
I did forget about weather. I mean, it I'm not a cold weather person. I like sun every single day,
Mm-hmm.
hot. I like to sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just one of those things you deal with. It's only going to be 3 months out of the year, the winter time. In
Mm-hmm.
the spring and the fall, it's one of the best cities ever, like just ever to live in. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. In the summertime, I would say about the same thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
get a jacket, buy some warm clothes, suck it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the positives definitely outweigh that one cold weather factor. But I will say it does get to me. The past week or two, it's been on average about 10-20 degrees, somewhere in that range. And I just the restaurant that I work at has a location in Miami, and I keep thinking about just telling them just transfer me over there.
Yeah. Okay. Like, would you ever? Is that ever been like a serious consideration for you to go to Miami?
Um, it has always just it's been in the mix. I like variety, so
Mm-hmm.
but I also know that being here for at least a few more years is probably just the right move.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not really Miami. It's just like a beachside location in a big city.
Oh,
That's
okay.
I think that's my end goal is just to call one of those places home.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So in NYC, like, is it really like a sleepless city? Like, is there always something to do at like all hours of the day? Is that
It's
true?
it is. I will say that yeah, it is the city that never sleeps. But Vegas, I feel like that the nickname is more Vegas' style than it is New York City's. I think New York City just gets that reputation because nothing really ever closes there, but people are kind of always on a grind.
Mm-hmm.
They come in with plans. I know a lot of people who are trying, to be like artists, actors, actresses, musicians. That's not an easy path to go through because there's so much competition. So
Mm-hmm.
they're always at the grindstone in regards to working on the craft and working jobs and going out, finding time for friends, family, all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, from like a purely like staying open point of view, Vegas is open 24/7 everywhere you go. New York City shuts down like around 3-4 a.m.
Oh, okay, I got you. I mean, that's still pretty late, but yeah.
No, it is.
Yeah.
There's no business staying up that late for me anymore.
Oh, okay, so I guess so out of the three places you've lived,
Mhm.
like which place would you say like you felt the most like comfortable or like at home?
I think New York City, but mainly just because I feel like I just like got all my, you know, kind of got all my ducks in a row, I guess, in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I had a plan. It's been going very well. You know, I feel like the photography thing, I'm getting a lot more opportunities. I'm starting to actually do it, get paid for it, and yeah, I feel like it's the city, but I know that I'm also going to be involving Las Vegas in my life in the future as well.
Oh, okay. That's what's up. That's cool. What else? So, like, what advice would you give to people? Let's say, they have they have everything they need to, like, they have all the resources to move,
Mm-hmm.
but let's say for whatever reason, mentally or emotionally, like, they're kind of, like, hesitant to, like,
Right.
pull the trigger. What advice would you give those people?
I mean, you kind of just have to do it. Like I'm a person who's, I like to measure 2, 3, 4, 5 times and cut once. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes I'll measure like 20, 25, 30 times and never cut.
Mm-hmm.
So you might as well just go ahead and do it. Actually, I read this book the other day. The book is called "You Are a Badass,"
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a line that says, if you get, you know, it's all going to work out for you. Like if you go out and like you buy this like super super expensive car or whatever, you're eventually just going to subconsciously make yourself live a lifestyle that'll help you pay that off. You'll make more money subconsciously. I feel like if you just go to whatever city you're thinking about moving to, your body's just going to make yourself think in a way that'll make the move work out for you. Like you'll find a job, you'll find a group of friends, you'll find, your source of happiness there. So, I mean, if you've done all the measuring and everything tells you to go move to this city, just do it.
Oh, awesome. That's a good way to put it. Interesting. Never thought of it like that. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll wrap this up soon, but just one more thing. Like after all the moving you've done, was there anything like you would have changed or anything you would have done differently?
Uh, I mean, I wish I had the mentality that I have here in New York City that I did in Vegas. I feel like in Vegas I was a little bit kind of like reckless in my behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, it's easy to see why. You know what kind of city it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's also a place where like we were like really disciplined mentally, and I just like if I were just like focused on everything I'd set out to do in Vegas, it would have just been a million times better. But I mean, that's just stuff I can take to my next move, or
Mm-hmm.
to New York City, and just kind of like learn from that. It's a learning experience.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So in NYC, what's like your new mentality that you've took on in New York?
I've kind of just stopped going out at night, or I've like eliminated like 90% of it. Just you're in the restaurant industry. Everyone you work with is, I'm 29 years old. And they're all around my age. They like to go out. They like to have fun, and doing it like once every night is, like once, like every night you go out. I just can't do that anymore. Kind of had to just like reassign like what I had set out to do. Stop going out because that was like my biggest problem in Las Vegas. So honestly, once I just eliminated that, I kind of like the path that I'm on. I don't know.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So
That
you've,
that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, so you kind of, I guess, kind of taken a step back in terms of like the nightlife.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Just like wake up and like see the check from last night, and it's like, oh yeah,
Mm.
should have done that.
Yeah.
I mean, like once in a like, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, on a nightly basis, it's completely unnecessary. But if you're gonna celebrate, just have your times for it. Have a reason for it.
Yes, everything in moderation.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool, awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to share with the people?
No, I think you got it all out of me.
Awesome, cool. Well, yeah, I want to thank you again for taking time to, take time out of your day to talk with us and share your experiences. I'm sure all the people that are going to listen, you might change your life. Who knows? Listening to your story. But yeah, we definitely appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. Maybe if you ever move to Miami, we can do a part two.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
Yeah. Excuse me, I'm yawning. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll talk to you later.
Right.
I'm gonna stop the recording. All right.